Hello everyone, Run the NBA back here for another NBA video. And I wanted to update you guys on the Toronto Raptors Kyle Lowry signing trade rumors. And the rumor that came out a couple of days ago that the Pelicans are reportedly very interested in acquiring Kyle Lowry via sign and trade to start bringing a more competitive roster around Zion Williamson to try and bring in pieces that are a better fit around Zion and try and be more competitive and make the playoffs next year, so that Zion doesn't end up wanting to ask out. That is the reasoning, at least as far as I can see, and as far as I could infer, that would be the reason that New Orleans would want to make this trade. Of course, it's not someone that is going to fit the timeline of Zion long term. Kyle Lowry is now approaching age 36, if he isn't already. 36 next March. And so, of course, now he's not going to fit the timeline of Zion Williamson, who is 21 years old, but it's someone that would obviously greatly help this roster in the short term. Someone that will give them a lot of perimeter shot creation, but can also be a playmaker, can be someone that can play off the ball alongside Zion. I think it can be a very, very versatile fit. Someone who can be a very good leader on what is a fairly young team for the most part outside of Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe. His wanted title has been there as a proven winner and can bring a lot of that experience and leadership to this team. Now, as far as what you could potentially see in a sign and trade, I know I've mentioned Kyle Lowry for Lonzo Ball sign and trade here. I don't think that value quite lines up, but maybe it does. But I also don't know if the Raptors have that much interest in acquiring Lonzo Ball. If they do end up falling with Jalen Suggs at that number 4 pick, then of course Lonzo Ball is not going to be the guy they want. So it could just depend on who they end up getting in the draft. Because if they get pick number 4, then that changes things a little bit. It's hard to say exactly how that'll go. But needless to say, Lonzo Ball is someone that could be in conversations in the sign and trade here with Kyle Lowry. The salaries aren't necessarily going to be that much different. If anything, Kyle Lowry is going to make a little bit more, but Lowry is going to be on lesser term. And so that doesn't lock the Pelicans up into money for the next 4 to 5 years like Lonzo Ball would. And they're getting someone who's much more of a veteran, a leader, and a proven winner. For the Raptors, it could give them a nice guard to replace Lowry. But one of the other options that could potentially be involved is Nickeil Alexander-Walker, of course, who is a fellow Canadian. There could be interest in Toronto wanting to acquire him, who've have had interest in him in the past, specifically when he was in the draft. And he had a very good season last year. He looks to be someone who has a bit of upside in the defensive end, has some good length for the 2-guard spot, is starting to improve a bit on the offensive end, and his 3-point shot looks to be something that can be improved to a point where he can be a serviceable floor spacer and 3-point shooter. He is related to SGA, of course, as well, and so the Raptors would love to get SGA at some point. It's not likely, of course, but there's just a lot of reasons why the Raptors would like him. And then another trade piece that could be on the board is potentially the 10th overall pick, or whoever they draft with that pick could also get flipped to Toronto as well. Depending if Toronto want to really go young and go towards that retool, he could see a combination of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the 10th pick, and Lonzo Ball, those types of guys getting sent one way or another. Now, it is worth mentioning from a contractual standpoint, a trade like that would not be able to go through with a sign and trade for Kyle Lowry unless Steven Adams or Eric Bledsoe were involved in the trade or were traded prior to the Kyle Lowry trade for salary cap implications. They currently have $94 million in committed spending next season. The salary cap is set at a bit above 110, I believe. It was 109 last season. And so they're going to have to get themselves in a scenario where they're going to have to get a little bit of salary off the books to be able to make this trade happen. But it's definitely something that is feasible. I don't think Lowry is going to go to the Pelicans. That's just my take on it. Lowry is going to get traded somewhere where he wants to play. The Raptors are going to do good by Kyle Lowry. He's a legend for the Toronto Raptors. He's one of the best Toronto Raptors, in my opinion. The best to ever do it for the Toronto Raptors. Not the most talented, not the most skilled, but he is the greatest. Not the best, I should reword. He is the greatest Toronto Raptor of all time. He's not the best, skill-wise. That's, of course. But he is the greatest Toronto Raptor of all time, and the Toronto Raptors are going to do good by him. And if they don't re-sign him, and it is a sign and trade, then he is going to be traded somewhere he wants to be. Whether that's Miami, whether that's Philly, whether that's somewhere in LA. He is going to get traded somewhere where he wants to go. And quite frankly, I don't think Kyle Lowry wants to go on a young, trying to get into the playoffs for the first time in a while Pelicans team. That's just my take. That's probably not what Lowry wants. He may not even want to relocate there. He might just want to go home to Philly or back to where he has some friends and Jimmy Butler in Miami, or with DeRozan in LA, if DeRozan ends up there himself. And that's some of the possibilities I could see for Kyle Lowry. And so I think it's an interesting move. I think it would be a smart acquisition for the Pelicans, and I think both sides would be interested, outside of the fact that Kyle Lowry probably wouldn't. And that just means that it's not going to happen because the Raptors are not trading Kyle Lowry anywhere other than where he wants to be. So that's my thoughts on the new rumors with Kyle Lowry to the New Orleans Pelicans. Definitely an interesting rumor and not one that I expected, but I liked the thinking from the Pelicans to try and bring in a proven winning vet this summer if they can, to try and get themselves into the playoffs, because this is a team that has the talent that they should be pushing for a playoff spot in this upcoming season. If you guys did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section on Kyle Lowry signing trades this summer, and if you think he will end up going to the Pelicans in this year's offseason. We are now only, I believe, 8 days away from the draft and about a couple of weeks from free agency. It's going to be a great time throughout the offseason. I will be keeping you up to date on all of the moves, and I mean all of the moves, free agency, trades, you name it, throughout the summer, and I cannot wait for all the player movement and to see what we look like and each team looks like moving into next season. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys in the next one.